The substitute kills, eliminates, voids, guts, I don't care what term you use, and delays for at least 10 years the right of the voters to vote on this. Please do not deny my 80,000 constituents and the millions of people across Virginia the right to do this. Madam Speaker, members of the body, everybody's had a leader that they've looked up to, they admire. What makes them great and sets them apart is their ability to rise above the pressure and lead. I ask you to do the same thing. This is a time where we close our eyes, we shut out the chatter, all the noise, and we ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do? Madam Speaker, I trust the voters. Thank you.
The delegate from Enrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the substitute.
Delegate Willett.
Thank you. We all answer to many constituents, and I'm sure many of us have been hearing from many constituents, particularly in the last few days, text, email, phone calls, and I completely respect the deference to those constituents. Those constituents are supporters, as voters, financial supporters, canvassers, and I've heard from many of them. But at the end of the day, the most important constituent to me is my family. That's who I ultimately answer to. And as we've sat here today, for most of the day, this longest day of ever in our lives, a member of my family has been here. My daughter is actually sitting on the floor today. She's about 6 feet behind Chairman Sickles. And ultimately, I want to be able to answer to her. I want to be able to look her in the eye and tell her that I did the right thing. Madam Speaker, we can do better. We can do better, and we can pass the substitute. Thank you.
The delegate from Manassas, Delegate Carter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the substitute.
Delegate Carter, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There's been a pretty common theme in a number of the things that we've taken up in this legislative session. And that common theme is an urgency on the part of Democrats to do something on an issue that has long been denied. I spoke yesterday on the Virginia Clean Economy Act, on how I felt that Dominion Energy was taking advantage of our desire to do something to make us do the wrong thing. I voted on a number of gun bills, some in favor, some opposed, because I felt that in our urgency to do something, in some cases we were doing the wrong thing. Madam Speaker, I voted last year for the amendment because I had very little time to consider it. It was put together at the last second, the final week of the session, as we stand here now, and it was held in front of me as a way of saying, do something on this issue. Now, in the time that I've been here, the 3 years, but especially this year, I've learned quite a lot of things about some members on the other side of the aisle. I've gained tremendous respect for the delegate from Chesapeake, Delegate Leftwich. He and I worked together on the insulin bill. I've gained an understanding that the delegate from Albemarle is very, very careful with his words. And so, Madam Speaker, I would invite the members of this body to think about the delegate from Albemarle's words when he spoke a moment ago, because he was very, very careful with them. He said this is something that the General Assembly cannot undo. I believe that he chose those words very carefully, that he said precisely what he meant to say, and that is precisely why the Republicans are holding this before us as a way of saying, do something, Democrats, do something. Go ahead. Do something that the General Assembly can't undo. Madam Speaker, we've had bills that will end partisan gerrymandering. We've had bills that will end racial gerrymandering. But if we pass an unamended resolution today, it will go to the voters, I believe it will pass, and it will be something that the General Assembly cannot undo. And what that something is putting in place a commission with legislators, picking the people. And when I campaigned, I said that the people should pick the legislators, not the other way around. We will have 8 legislators picking the people. And if those 8 legislators cannot agree, if 2 of them refuse to go along with it, then it goes to the Supreme Court, who shall establish the districts. And what happens when the Supreme Court looks at the legislation that we passed? They'll say, oh, General Assembly, that's cute. But the Supreme Court shall establish the districts, regardless of the criteria, regardless of what we try to do. Because, as the delegate from Albemarle said, this is something that the General Assembly cannot undo. So if we're going to do something that we cannot undo, Madam Speaker, we'd better do it right. And I believe that this substitute gives us an opportunity to do it right, rather than just doing something that we cannot undo. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Delegate from Shenandoah, Delegate Gilbert.
Will the delegate from Manassas yield for a question?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I will yield.
Delegate yields.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to make sure I heard the gentleman right. Again, must be something wrong with my hearing, but when he said that this amendment that he voted for last year was just placed down in front of him at the last minute, is he suggesting that he was talking about last year when he voted for it, when it was pre-filed, when it was debated in committee, when it came to the floor in a timely fashion, that he was talking about last year and not this thing that just got dropped in front of us 2 days ago?
Madam Speaker.
I just want to make sure that that's what the gentleman's saying.
Madam Speaker.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Point of order. Madam Speaker, I know sometimes we recitate facts on this floor, but I am concerned about the line of questioning, because as I recall, there were amendments and there was a lot of discussion back and forth. So, Madam Speaker, I just ask that the minority leader, if he's going to give a recitation of facts about what happened last year, that he be as accurate as possible.
Delegate from Manassas, Delegate Carter. Would you like
Thank
to
you,
respond?
Madam Speaker. I would say to the delegate from Shenandoah that I believe this language came to us as a Senate amendment and then a conference report. This is not the language that was introduced last year.
Madam Speaker, will the delegate yield for a further question?
No, Madam Speaker, I do not.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Actually, there's a queue here, Delegate. The next in line, Delegate from Fairfax County, Delegate Kory.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Like many of you, when I ran for re-election, I pledged and I signed documents that said I would vote for this constitutional amendment. But what I know is that this substitute is actually what many people think the constitutional amendment intends to do. My voters are not stupid, my constituents are not stupid, and I don't think anybody here has very many stupid voters or constituents. I am already getting messages from my constituents asking me to support the substitute, telling me that they think that it is the right thing to do. And I know it's the right thing to do, and I know all of you can explain it to your highly intelligent voters and constituents, and they will understand. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The delegate from Portsmouth, Delegate Scott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaking to the substitute.
Delegate Scott, you have the floor.
I'm new this year, so they can't point it out that I voted for this last year because I'm new. That's one. Two, constitutional amendments are supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to take a year, you look at it, you view it, you vote on it, then you come back the next year with a different General Assembly, possibly as this one is, 18 new freshmen, you take another fresh look at it. If it doesn't pass muster, you don't vote on it. That is your responsibility. Forgive me if I'm not impressed by the numbers that 82, 70 passed last time. In the 2005 session, the constitutional amendment, marriage may exist only between a man and a woman, that is enshrined in our Constitution. Guess how many folks voted for that? 79. 79 people were wrong then. I would submit to you that 82 people were wrong last year. I'm telling you guys, and I'm telling the members, Article 1 Bill of Rights, Section 15-8, marriage, in our Constitution. We can fix legislation. That is still in your Constitution right now, that only a union between one man and one woman may be a marriage valid in or recognized by this Commonwealth. That's what you put in the Constitution. Don't make that mistake again. It's still there. And some of you who voted for it are still here. And I want to make sure that we're clear what we're doing. We have a responsibility to go back and review the work that the past General Assembly did. And we can say, we don't have to, y'all gave them an A last year, I'm giving them an F this year. We can go back and fix this. It's wrong. What does it do? The Constitutional Amendment, what does it do? It has some general language in there that says that we will try our best to protect racial minorities. It doesn't enshrine a Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. It doesn't enshrine it. It says we'll refer to whatever the current federal law is. But we already know who's in office right now, and we know how he picks judges. And those judges will be the people that are interpreting the law. There's a reason that when Delegate Sickles brought back an amendment to try to cancel this Bill of Rights, this Section 15A marriage, and it failed, it never made it to the floor. Because some folks are in hopes that if we get the court pact right, this may come back and be very valid. Otherwise, you would have removed this from the Constitution. Now, I will tell you, right now, if we put this in there, we are depending on folks outside of Virginia, outside of the General Assembly to pick this, to do the criteria and do the redistricting. Moreover, I ran on independent redistricting. I already got to be nice to the Speaker. I got to be nice to Madam Senate Pro Tem. I got to be nice to the Chair of Appropriations. I got to be nice to the Majority Leader. Now I got y'all telling me I got 8 more folk I got to not offend. Because they'll draw me out of my district. We have 8 new people. Moreover, the Speaker, the Minority Leader, Senate Pro Tem, Minority and Senate, they get to pick the folks. And as I read the amendment, now I read well. I may look slow, but I can read. It doesn't even prohibit her from picking herself. What kind of constitutional amendment would you put something in? Like, why would you put some language in that gives the politicians more opportunities to abuse? Not you, Madam Speaker. But somebody behind her, the next person that may come. Moreover, the first day we were here, freshmen, 18 of y'all, first day we were here, we were sitting here twiddling our thumbs like, what the heck are they doing? They passed a resolution and they went over to the Senate and the Senate said, we insist. And then y'all went back and said, we insist. And what happened was I found out, well, the House of Delegates had said, well, we want 3 people to go or 4 people to go. And the Senate said, well, we want 4 too. And we said, no, you're not getting 4 because this proportionality thing, it's more of us and less of y'all. And we insist on it and we don't want to set a precedent. So it's 4 of us and 2 of y'all. And after we insisted, they finally said, okay, we're going to do it. But then they did what they wanted to do anyway. Then a couple of days ago, Delegate from Caroline, Delegate Kory, taught me another lesson. Delegate Adams had introduced a bill, and that bill had established a committee or a commission. And the Senate had put in a substitute and said, we want equality. We want 4 and 4 in that committee. And Delegate Kory, to his credit, he taught me something, thank you. He got up and said, hold on. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's making a mistake. We cannot have equality. She doesn't know. So I'm going to ask her to reconsider that and reject the Senate amendment. And then, oh my God, it was an emergency. We had to go at ease to figure this thing out. We went at ease and we had a big powwow and we did what we normally do. And then we came back down and Delegate Adams, after being scolded, came back and said, I've learned to err in my ways. I'm going to ask the body to reject it because it doesn't matter. It doesn't coincide with our proportionality. And as Delegate Orrick so aptly pointed out, we did not want to set a precedent by giving them equality in that way. Am I right, Delegate Orrick? I know I am. Because I listen well. So then, I'm looking at this amendment, and lo and behold, how many senators does it have in it? Y'all know the answer, 4. And then I checked and I said, well, how many members of the House of Delegates are there in there? Hold on, Delegate Orrick, something is wrong, because you said, the delegate from Caroline said there is no way we're going to give them the same number that we had. But lo and behold, not only are we setting a precedent, not in a bill, not in a legislative item, but we're setting a precedent right here in the doggone Constitution. That makes no sense. When you put more politicians involved, you're going to get more politics. What we need is an independent, bipartisan commission made up of citizens that has been suggested by the delegate from, where are you from, Fairfax? Y'all got so many cities up there in Northern Virginia. But the delegate from Fairfax, this meets the criteria. Y'all already put one thing we can't get out of the Constitution, that only a union between one man and one woman may be a marriage. Now, my people, we know that there are, 20-some odd members of the Black Caucus now? And every time we move forward, it's always somebody trying to move us back a step. Obama gets elected, they say, no, we're going to stop everything. We realize that the vast majority of the Black Caucus here now, we are against this. Not because of me. I'm going to be fine, y'all. I do well. Check my card, check my bank account, check my statement of economic interest. We do well. This is not a job for me. This is a calling to protect those who are like me, who would have no voice. So we need to make sure that we protect racial minorities. This constitutional amendment does not do it. That substitute does. If you're riding with us, vote for the substitute. Thank you.
The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Miyares.